Alright, hello YouTube. Today I want to talk about a topic that I've been wanting to cover for a little while, and it's zero ticks and block event delay. So basically, there are a couple of videos explaining all of this on YouTube, but I think that, I don't know, I didn't really like how they were structured. I felt like they didn't give me enough tools to understand properly why zero ticks work and how to make my own zero tick generators and stuff like that. So in this video, I'll try and cover all of that, and especially block event delay, because block event delay is kind of a nebulous term. So you kind of see this thrown around in TMC, but it's rare that someone is going to actually explain it properly, and so I'll try and do that today. Now, I'm not the best person to talk about zero ticks and block event delay. I'm kind of a noob, but the people that are actually good enough to make comprehensive videos about all of that don't end up making these videos, and so that's why I'm making them today. So yeah, I'll try and do my best to cover all of the stuff properly, and if I make mistakes, please let me know in the comment section. This is just going to be basically an essay that I'll try I'll try and cover everything, and someday I'll just clean everything in this video and do some fancy editing and put it on the main channel. Okay, so for zero ticks, we can use armor stance to verify if we actually zero tick a block, because zero ticking a block is going to teleport a block if we use a sticky piston. Though if we don't use a sticky piston and we use a regular piston instead, we can actually zero tick the piston, but it's not going to teleport the block. So yeah, we need to keep that in mind. Now I'm just going to make a quick setup for a wall instant wire, like that, and like that. Is that? No, like this. Okay, so this should give us a zero tick generator. Now this is a regular piston, right? So if I push this and I do tick rate 3 so we can see what we do, you'll see that this block is being pushed, and that's not what we want. We want the block to teleport, because even though this piston got zero ticked, it's not good enough. So with a sticky piston, unless this powers, I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, it zero ticks. So zero ticking a block inside of an armor stand is not going to push it, because, well, the block doesn't move, it just gets teleported, and when you pull it back, it's going to get pulled in 3 game ticks. Okay, so we have this setup right here, and basically how it works is that we have our trapdoor that's going to update the wall from top to bottom. And so what happens is that in the same game tick, we have this observer that's going to see the change, and then this observer. Now, even though that all happened in the same game tick, everything needs to be processed one thing after the other. So we have this powering this block, powering this piston, and at the exact, and just right after, but in the same game tick, we have this observer powering this piston, and therefore moving the power source away. And this is how we create a 0 game tick pulse. A 0 tick is basically just a pulse that you create and remove in under 1 game tick. Now this is using block event delay, but there are other ways that you can create a 0 tick generator. You can use tile ticks as well. Maybe you've seen something like, oh no, it's not that, it's that. Yeah. Like this. So basically, that other way, using tile tick, we're going to use repeaters and comparators, or observers. Observers and comparators have the same tile tick priority, and the tile tick priority is basically just some sort of coded way to differentiate which component should power first. So for example, in here we have this setup and we have 2 repeaters on each side. Now they're all set to 1, and so whenever you power this, it's gonna be, we'll call that random. It's probably not random, it's probably locational or something, but we'll call it random, okay? So whenever you power, it's always going to be whatever piston happens to be there. But if we change the delays like this, it's going to be this one that'll be triggered first, because I don't know, tile tick priority is weird. Now if I change the delay and move it place, now it's going to be this piston which powers first. Same thing happens if we change the delay like this. Now let's do the opposite, or even just do this. Now this is probably going to power first. Yeah, because I don't know, man. I'm bad with this stuff, but you can play with stuff like that to control which thing is going to get powered first. And so yeah, you can create some sort of 0 tick with that. Now how do you do this? Well, just do something like this, and then, oh no, sorry, I'm dumb. Like this. Yeah. So basically the idea with 0 tick is that you just have your power source and then move it away within the same game tick. Now here we have a bubble elevator, and it is going to send the update from the bottom to the top, which means that we're going to power this observer before this one. So this is not going to 0 tick, because this observer never gets its signal to there. So even though we use the same setup as here, this setup is not going to work, because it needs to update from the top to the bottom in order for it to work. Now over here I have another setup using dust. So dust is going to dust is locational, so dust in and out of itself can't be used to generate a 0 tick based on the order in which you wire it. But you can take observers observing the redstone dust to take a signal. So if I use this lever over here. Basically, the dust is going to power in this way, like this. And if I do the opposite, it's going to power like this. And if it powers this way, this observer is going to push this before we can actually send a pulse through there, and therefore it's not going to allow the zero tick. But the other way, it's going to allow for it. Now, if we use rails instead, rails use the opposite direction instead. So rails, oh my god, what a voice crack. Rails update from the end to the beginning of the rail, so might be useful. Now this particular mechanic, I find it very useful for this pulse generator. So you basically just run a pulse in here, and you can have your zero tick. So that's a very useful circuit. Okay. Other ways that you can use to create a same game tick delay is moving pistons, for example. And so in this setup, I have this piston that's going to push blocks downwards. When you push a column of blocks with a piston, the blocks that are going to get moved first are the blocks that are the farthest away from the piston. So it's going to be this one, then this one, then this one, then this one. Which means that we can send a pulse with the bottommost observer and then power this piston with another observer right above it, and it's going to create our zero tick in this case. Just like that. And now I guess we'll talk about block event delay. Now I'm pretty bad with block event delay, but the idea with block event delay is that you can have a circuit, like for example in here, and you just want to add a big chain of actions that are going to be processed in the same game tick, and it's going to add delay. So basically, block event delay is just piston delay, really. So if I remove the power from here, this piston is going to retract and send a pulse to the observer. And on the other side, when I remove the power, this piston is going to unpower, and then it's going to unpower this piston, which is going to unpower this piston, and that creates some block event delay, which is like same game tick delay. And so with that delay, you can just control which way which part of the circuitry is basically just going to receive a pulse first. So like if I were to do the setup like in here, well, this observer should notice that the block is missing there before this observer notices that this block is missing, because, well, this is a big chain, whereas this is a small chain and is going to be faster to register the information. Now, in this particular scenario, I'm not sure that this is actually reliable, because I'm using like observers pointing into dust, and dust is pretty bad. It's locational, and yeah, you can't really count on it for being how do you say that? Reliable. The word is reliable. Okay. Yeah. So this is one example of block event delay. Now block event delay can be used to make like stuff like double piston extenders and shit like that. So like for example in this core that I made, if we slow it down like this, you'll see that I'll have these two pistons extend within the same game take very soon. Maybe I put the game a little bit too slow. Yeah, like this. And the way that we do this kind of stuff is just by adding block event delay. Now this is some sort of representation of what I have going on there, and it's basically this zero tick generator and this zero tick generator. Now if I power this, you'll see that we have this redstone block that moves this way and then this way. But can you even tell? Like the only way that you can tell actually is with this lamp, because it's not even powering this piston. Now why isn't it powering this piston? Well, because block event delay is just a bitch really. And if you don't have enough block event delay, you're not going to be able to power other pistons around. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It just depends on your situation, if you need it or not. So yeah, let's dissect this. So here you can see very clearly this setup. We just have this observer powering this piston, and this piston is going to basically take this observer, bring it here, send power here, and that quasi powers our piston. But we need this other piston to chain the update and let the piston know that it should push. Now we need to use a piston because we need the block event delay. Don't ask me why, I don't know. And yeah, you can just have your other piston that's going to push stuff around, like in here. And on this side, it's this piston over here that's going to drag this observer. Now the way that I add block event delay in here is just by putting a piston there, and then I just want to add as many pistons as I can before I can update this piston. So if I do this, now I take this piston there, it's going to update this piston there, and then this piston there, because like if this receives power, then this receives power. This tells this piston is going to tell this piston that is being QC powered, and this one is going to tell this one that is QC powered, and this one is going to tell this one that is QC powered. And then it's going to wait, I want to put it there actually, and this one is going to tell this one that is QC powered, and it's going to push the observer, and that will create our zero tick. And yeah, so like this, I just have this redstone block cycle from there to there within one game tick, and you can see it with the lamp, like I told you, but not enough block event delay to power this piston. So if I go to this setup over here, you'll see that we have something very similar, where we can power this lamp but we can't power the piston. But if I were to put the observer here, which adds block event delay because we have a piston in delay with this one, then now we can actually zero tick a piston. Yeah, so just add pistons and it'll add block event delay. Now I'm pretty bad with this, and I don't know how you can do it all the time. Sometimes you'll see setups like using slimestone. Okay, so I just made this real quick because I think that this part wasn't clear enough. So let's say we have this to chain some block event delay. Yeah, right. Okay, let's do this and this. Okay, now it should be good. Okay, so over here what we have is a chain of pistons that are going to basically make a chain and then remove the power source. And so that's going to push both this side and this side at the same time. Now, if we take a look at these pistons, which we want to make a double piston extender with, you'll see that this piston doesn't receive power when it's there. Now, the reason for that is that we don't have enough block event delay. So what I just did is that I did a very scuffed block event delay generator, if that's even a word, and I'm just going to power a dust over here and send and have more pistons that are going to add block event delay over here before we remove the power source, which is there. So yeah, it needs to power this, and this before we can send the observers back up, and this is what creates some block event delay, which means that we're going to have this added delay over here, which with all of this added delay, which is gonna be plenty for our double piston extender over here. And we can even put a block over here and it'll get moved right away. Now, something with zero tick generators is that if we have a block over here, it's not going to actually push because this is now going to be, this block is going to be pushed in 3 game tick, even though this one is already there, but it can't push a moving block. So yeah, it's sometimes limiting, but sometimes it's good actually. Okay, so this is the one. Okay, so let's say I put a block over here. Now this is a smart piston wall, and the idea is that you just bud all of these pistons, and when you update them by putting a block in front of them, they're going to push away. Now if I put a block towards the top or towards anywhere there, it's going to trigger all of the pistons, because we have a big enough chain reaction to go from here to down here and then remove the power. Yeah, so when this piston receives power, this piston knows that it's being powered right now, and so it's going to push down, and that's going to remove the redstone block there, which is going to update these 2 pistons, which control the slider over here, and that'll remove the power from these pistons, because when you put a block, right, they notice that they're being powered. And yeah, that's how I create a zero tick with that. But as you can see, if we update too close to this part over here, we don't have enough block event delay to update all of these pistons before we actually remove the power. And so in this example, you'll see that, yeah, this is not enough delay over here. But if I put the block higher up, then we create all of this block event delay before reaching this piston. I hope you kind of understand it. And towards the top, I have something very similar, like using these butted pistons. And well, this thing really, I'm not smart enough to figure all of this out by myself. It's really Anware, written like this, who tried to do a better version of mine, which was this, but it sucked, and so he tried to wire one, and I kind of copied this bottom part and I made the top smaller, but both of our designs have this flaw over here, and I just don't know how to figure out the way to add block event delay over here while keeping this relatively compact. So yeah. Now, is that it? I think it is. Yeah, so I guess this is it. So hopefully you understand that you just want to create a sequence in which you have a priority over which block gets power first, so you can send power into a block and then remove that power within the same game tick, but with the right priority. And hopefully you can add block event delay, so you can have like a double piston like this extend in one game tick by adding pistons. Yeah, I think that's a pretty bad way to end, but well, I'm just doing this on the fly, and I guess that's all you'll have from me. So hopefully this can help some people, and if it doesn't, well, no, I'm sure it will. Okay, see you, bye.